All right, Coach. Again, thanks for taking the time with me and to talk about obviously the baseball program, obviously the MLB draft the last couple of days, and for your program, seeing Kalen go, in the first 21st, the first top 25 picks. Just as a coach, when you see a player go that high in the MLB draft, and obviously the success that he had in your program, how proud of a moment was that for you when you saw him go 21st overall?
It's just so fun watching a kid who's consumed with being great at something, and to have that moment. You know, we recruited KC, and he committed to us 2 years before he got here, so that you get a 5-year relationship with, so you see so much growth from when he was beginning his junior year in high school and to where he was on Sunday night. It's just been an amazing journey for all of us, and it speaks volumes about our program and our ability to develop, number one, but most importantly, it speaks volumes to Kalen and his work ethic and who he chose to be as a person and as a baseball player and a top-notch athlete, because you can give the structure and development, but if you don't have the athlete that's motivated and disciplined, then those jumps are not going to be made, and he's been the ultimate teammate and team player and worker since he stepped foot in this community. And he embodies everything that has to do with the Kansas State way and work for everything he's gotten, and better days ahead. He's still hungry. He'll keep making jumps. I can't wait to see his career and how he grows.
And obviously the hype was there, right, coming into this year and what you guys were able to do, obviously the super regionals and hits that I'm a White Sox fan, so Hagen Smith from Arkansas hit the home run off of, put that two and two together. Just to, when he had all the hype and to kind of see how he balanced that and not maybe take it too deep, meaning, he wasn't thinking about that. He was focused on his teammates. What does that just say about his character and who he was, during his time in Manhattan?
Well, that's exactly right. It's when you get a high profile guy, it's they either go two ways. They're either going to be the prospect. The prospect is he reads all the draft predictions. He reads all the breakdown on him as a player. He knows every scout in the region. He's always talking to his agent, and he's doing a lot of stuff that prospects do. And the opposite guy is the player, and the player shows up every day and figures out how he's going to be better at his craft and how he's going to help his team win every day. And that's what KC was. He never talked about prospect. He was just completely focused on getting Kansas State to a different level and trying to get to Omaha and trying to win every day. And he didn't know where he was going to be forecasted in the draft, and he didn't care. He just knew if he did everything in his power to help Kansas State win, he's going to pick his head up in July and be in a really good place, and that's exactly what happened.
Let me ask you, kind of basing off of that, where he didn't really care where he went, and you saw the video of him on MLB Network and all that stuff of him just letting it all loose, right? Seeing his emotion with his family and seeing that, hey, this reality is now a dream, and to see that reaction of him crying and kind of breaking down, knowing that his dream, again, his reality became a dream. What was that like to see as a coach where, he just kind of let it all out in that given moment?
Pretty awesome. And that's who he is as a kid. It's he never has that camera face on. He's not going to give you the cool guy reaction, and he's just going to, what you see is who he is, and that's refreshing these days. And he's come a long way, man. It's like it wasn't an easy journey. It's life gets difficult sometimes for these kids too. And it's just you got to maneuver your way through some things, and then you stay disciplined and keep that work ethic consistent. And he's always been grounded. got a tremendous family, and to to watch them have that moment, that's what it's all about. And his reaction was genuine because that's who he is and that's who he's always going to be, you know. And um, yeah, that was a special moment, but that's who Casey is right there.
Excuse me, coach. Let me ask as well, when you see Jackson, you see Tyson, you've seen Brady, and then Brendan all go in the same draft, different days and different rounds and stuff. So as a coach, where you saw obviously the success of the program this year, and when you see these guys getting drafted, five of them, in a 3 day span, how cool is that as a coach, where you have so many pieces that they can get drafted in, almost every year, and just to see how many guys they get drafted and what they were able to contribute, like Tyson and Jackson and Brendan with 40 stolen bases this year. What was that like, just to kind of see all of them be drafted, and the integral parts they had on this year's group?
Yeah, it's great for our program, because it truly shows, the rate and the level that we're developing guys. And that's what we preach in recruiting. And these none of those guys were drafted coming out of high school, and under our watch and our culture, with our coaching staff, they've made incredible jumps to continue their career. And like I said before, it doesn't work if these guys aren't motivated, self-motivated. We could just provide them the structure. And um, it's awesome to see one of their goals get checked off, and that's their goal. And our goal in recruiting is you come here, and we get you prepared for your career, and play professional baseball. So that goal's checked off. Their next one is to get to the big leagues. And I think each guy that was drafted in this draft is certainly motivated to do that, and certainly not out of the question. I am so proud of our coaching staff, though, at the ability that they're able to develop these guys and give them a chance to have success as they go out and start their professional career.
And a big thing too, coach, and you've talked about it, especially the last couple of weeks when you were, in Arkansas and then Charlottesville. A big thing is these guys could have left, they could have transferred, they, could have went to the draft or did something else, and they didn't. And obviously, it took you to where you wanted to be. And now, when you look back at the whole season, meaning when you went to Charlottesville, you won the Fayetteville Regional. As a coach, yes, of course, your goal was to go to Omaha, but to take that next stepping stone, was that a prideful moment that your program took that next step for hopefully next year to get to Omaha?
Yeah, that's why we all came here. Coaches and players, we all came here to get this program and raise the standard, and talk about Omaha every day, and we do. So it was fun to see that, and we checked off all our goals as a program except one. And we had 4 core goals, and we checked them all off, and except that one. And we'll continue to have that as our number one goal, and that's to win a national championship. And but we're close, right? We're one series win away from getting in that tournament in Omaha, and playing for it all. And we'll continue to set our goals and recruit and work to get to that level, and sustain it. That's the next step, is to, other than being a national program, which we are right now, you have to sustain it. So you have to overcome a draft where you lose 5 integral guys, and then continue your success, where it's never really a rebuild situation. We want to be a program that reloads. That's what the great programs in this country have done and have been able to do. And there's no reason why we can't do that here at Kansas State. So that's our next goal ahead of us. And but you're right, it doesn't happen if those 5 guys. We had really 6 or 7 guys that could have signed free agent deals last year. Brady Day was drafted and chose to come back, and Tyson and KC were they were approached to get in the portal for huge amounts of money from third party, the characters we have in our profession now that are lurking out there, but they refuse to do that. And that speaks volume of, number one, the families that have brought them up. It speaks volumes of those guys' character, and it speaks volumes of our culture. And those guys will get their payday. They knew that. We preach that the relationships that they have with their coaching staff and their teammates are invaluable, and they last a lifetime. So it doesn't happen without those guys. It doesn't coming back. It doesn't happen without our culture being as strong as it is. And but yeah, that was it was fun to get those guys. One series went away from Omaha, and then I just loved in the postseason as a coach. There's nothing like watching your guys play in high pressure situations and being very productive and approaching it the right way. And I thought we did that in the regional in Arkansas. I thought our guys played loose, and I thought they played loose in Charlottesville too. We just didn't play good enough, and that's all you want in those pressure deals, is to have your kids fly around and play play with a smile on their face and handle the pressure and perform under the pressure. And to me, that was the most rewarding as a head coach.
And coach, you brought up, you bring up a good point where, especially in college, right, where it's all about the transfer portal, it's all about NIL money now the last several years. And you brought up with, Kalen and Tyson specifically. But, Coach Tang talked about reloading. I want to elevate this program. I want to continue to do that. And obviously, losing 5 guys is not easy to, replace in terms of hard throwers and, productive hitters at the plate. Obviously, a lightning speed of a guy in Brendan Jones. So as a coach, how difficult is that? Because obviously every sport's different. How fun is it maybe to plug in those pieces and see what works? Or what is it about a coach when you lose so many pieces like that you have to be able to figure out what works at the same time?
Well, we got to fill some bodies. So I was just talking to my son Thomas before I jumped on with you, and he coaches our infield, and we literally have one infielder coming back next year, like in our program on our roster, and he talked about how fun that's going to be to have, a whole new infield core, to learn our system, to teach our system, to teach them our way and how we go about things. When you have Brady Day and Kalen Culpepper in your infield for 3 years, those guys, they coach themselves in year 3. They know our system, and so this would be a fun challenge for us to have some new players in here, some talented players. I mean, we're involved with some really good players that are coming on our roster, because our program has legitimized itself, and it's proven to be a good spot for kids to develop, to win, number one, to develop and get drafted. So kids are more inclined to come to Kansas State than they were, 4 or 5 years ago, and so we'll have some talented kids to work with. It's exciting, I don't want to plug in so many pieces every year, but that's just the way it works out. And baseball's different. You can't win with just 2 guys. You got to have 8 to 10 pitchers that are really, really good to win at the level that we want to win at. And that's the low number on the pitching staff. And then, you can't have outs in your lineup. So you have to have 9 guys that are really good. And then you have to have a deep bench. You gotta go lefty righty matchup guys in your bullpen. You gotta go lefty righty platoon guys in your dugout to have depth in your program. So, you're talking about, you have to have 17 to 20 really good players in your program. It's not like you get some other sports where you get a couple guys that can go crazy and then dominate a game, and it'd be nice. Or like even softball, right? You get that one arm that dominates. That'd be nice too. But that's just not how our sport's wired, and it's numbers and depth and talent, and that takes a lot of work. And I'm fortunate I got an unbelievable coaching staff that can recruit, and they're tireless, and they're motivated even more with our success to plug in those pieces that have left our program.
But let me ask, because you kind of bring up, the situational stuff, right? Lefty, righty, come out of the bullpen, all this kind of stuff. Are you a big, what happens in game guy, or are you a big analytics guy? I know coaches are all kind of different. What is your philosophy when thinking about, situational hitting, situational pitching? What is it like for you? Is it the situational stuff or is it, analytics?
Well, if I have gray hair, you probably think I'm not going to say analytics, right? But I'm huge on the analytics side, huge on it. Um, what a weapon that's become in our game day preparation and putting our kids in the best situation to have success. It's all driven through the analytics and the amount of video and information that's available in college baseball now. And we certainly take advantage of it, and it's been our edge on more than a few occasions. But there is a component where you have to have feel and experience, and or else anyone can go out there and do it, And I think if you make educated decisions in game, while taking into account the flow of the game, the people that are playing it, the matchups that are there, the human element, I think I think you can't stray too far away from that. So I think we do a really good job of making educated decisions in game. So
And coach, I'll ask you one thing. I talked with Gene about week and a half, 2 weeks ago now, and talked to him about your relationship with both of you guys together and how he's very accessible to talk to, and you guys have a really good relationship. And just talk about not only having an athletic director who's like that, where you can approach him at any given point, you can call him or shoot him a text. How important is that to have his support, and maybe not just even him, other coaches that are in the athletic department as well that help, I would say, just cheer your program on and know you have that support at Kansas State, because as Jane mentioned to me, that it's one big happy family. So do you agree with that? And what is it like to have an athletic director also too, like Gene?
well, there's no one like him in major college athletics, And I've been around the block. I've been around to exposed to many styles of leadership. And I've never been around a guy like this, and it was quite evident the day that I met with him about this job, and my name was involved with another job at the time, and I just told my wife after I met with Gene, I said, this is where we're gonna come, and it's about people and relationships, and that's one of the best guys I've ever met in that position. Well, you always get the baseball right. You can't get the people and relationships wrong, because that you can't fix that. And um, so it was important for me to be around a guy like that, especially my boss, who's got just super high moral fabric, and everything comes from the top. It all starts from leadership, and it's not a coincidence that all our programs are doing well across the board. Right? There's one common denominator. It's our athletic director, and because he treats people fairly, he's accessible. He will fight and defend his coaches fiercely. He's never making decisions through social media or message boards. He's not forming his opinion that way. He forms his opinion with the people he's hired. And that is refreshing. And that is not very common at that level. There's no ego. He has the same goals that I have. And that's openly communicated. You know, I just, I'm, he's the real deal. He's just a real guy. He's a true old school coach's AD. And you know what? That's reflective of his entire athletic department. I mean, my peers, my coaches on the staff, ev believe me, everybody wants Kansas State to win. It's like when we win a women's soccer game, that's a victory for me. You know, when Coach Kleiman can text me after big wins, Coach Mitty's texting me, you know, Coach Tangs, to everyone's, just it's healthy. It's healthy, and there's no looking at that program. I want that. Why do they do this? It's that exists in other places. That's not the Kansas State way, and that's just because of who's leading the show.
And coach, I'll probably wrap it up with this. And you look at the summertime, and now it's kind of the slow part of the year, right? Where you're out recruiting and hopefully maybe taking a vacation, because obviously after all the hard work you put in this past year, for you now, coach, those next steps for the program, right? Obviously, hitting the transfer portal, going out and recruiting. What is it like if people don't know? What is it like when the baseball season's over? What do you guys do for those next couple of months? Obviously, there's training. Obviously, there's probably workout stuff like that. What are those things that coaches do in the meantime to prepare for a new season when you have to plug in those new pieces and weights and all that stuff? So, what is that like? What are those next steps now leading into next year coming up in a couple months?
So as soon as we got bumped out of Charlottesville, you have your player exit meetings, and I meet with every single one of my guys, and there were 35 that I met with, and our guys, those conversations, where you fit in our program, um, what your role is, what you need to get better, what you do good, what's your signability if you're a draft guy, and then our guys who aren't draft guys go out and play summer ball. So they're immediately going to their summer teams. So from a coaching standpoint, we're hitting the road immediately with the transfer portal. And so instead of going to these high school travel team venues like we did in the past, we're going to college summer leagues. And getting to know and establish a relationship with a portal kid and see if it's the right fit. So that's what our coaches have been doing. We've been going out to the college summer leagues, meeting with these kids and families, and then getting them back here on our campus to see our facilities and our community and see what that's all about. And then at the same time, we don't want to totally neglect the high school baseball player. Especially the high end one, especially the one where we have strong networks in. So I have a coach in Louisville right now. I have another coach heading off to Indianapolis to cover, these travel team tournaments from a national basis to get our high school list really strong. And then we have camps on campus. We have our incoming freshman pitchers only on campus right now, going through our strength and conditioning program and knocking out a couple summer school credits for them to assimilate into college a little easier when the fall starts. And then, but all our guys are out playing summer ball right now. And when they come back in August, our first day of class is August 19th. And I'll let them decompress a little bit, and we won't go 100 miles an hour with the baseball in the bats. It's, I'll be eager to get on the field to do the baseball stuff, but these kids have just played 60 games with me, and then they went out and played another 45. So they're tired. I'll let them get away from the game for a couple weeks. We'll just go heavy in the weight room and let them get settled into their academic semester, and then after Labor Day we'll start getting into working on skill work and our team stuff. And like you said, there's going to be a lot of new bodies that we need to evaluate and teach our system to. So it'll be a fun fall, working with new guys and really talented guys. And but we also let them be college students too on campus. I'm one of the few college baseball coaches that gives his team the weekends off in the fall. I think it's important to be a part of our community, and I do think it's important that they're a college student and then can enjoy everything that this community has to offer. Like, I'm never going to be that coach that's going to practice at 10 in the morning before a 1 o'clock football game. I'm just not going to do that because it's special. I know it's a football game, but it's who we are as a community. I want our kids to enjoy that, and so we work really hard in the fall. I do give them those weekends off, but Monday through Friday, we get going at a pretty good clip. It's actually our busiest time from a coaching standpoint, because we're recruiting every home football game. We have recruits on campus. We're practicing like crazy, just like we do during the season. When the fall hits after Labor Day, we're lifting 4 times a week, and then we're out traveling and recruiting in the fall. So it is definitely our busiest time of year, more so than the spring, but it's a fun time of year too.
Coach, I'll ask you one more thing because you kind of brought up a good point when you said, we like to re-energize. We like to, show our way of Kansas State baseball, and you like to do that with so many new players, and especially, again, the landscape of transfer portal. Does that re-energize you? Does that give you more fuel when you're able to, have new players come in and see what Manhattan's like, and also the university as well? What is that like as a coach where, especially in this landscape, that you can maybe feel re-energized. You can show more people what Kansas State's like. What maybe not motivation necessarily, but more fuel does that give you when you have new faces every single year?
Because they're talented too, you know, and that's why we're at the highest level of college baseball, and when you have those high end players come in and you get to work with them every day, it's exciting, you know, and then when you can have those really talented guys move the needle a little bit more and know that there is more to move in a higher level of play, and they get to it. That's what excites me. And but that's our job, you know. We promised our guys, hey, look, you're going to get better. You're going to become a better person. You're going to become a better baseball player if you come to Kansas State. And um, we know that's a privilege as a coaching staff to do that. We don't take that lightly, and um, we just help these kids every day. It's that they're talented. They're fun to work with. They're great kids. They want to be great. They want to be great as bad as we do. And when that's the case, those kids are really fun to work with. But we'll have some new bodies this fall. It'll be fun. It's we we got a chance to be really deep, and it's going to be super competitive for those kids fighting to see who's going to jump into those starting spots.
Coach, anything else that I'm missing? I know we went over a lot of different topics. Is there anything else that I'm missing that you'd like to add about last season, incoming people that you got, or Turners? Anything else that I'm missing that you'd like to add?
No, I'm just thankful for our coaching staff. These guys don't get a lot of credit, you know, and we're as good as anybody. I know I've said this a couple times with you, as anybody in the country in developing kids, and it's because we have who we have as coaches. And um, you know, I have three full-time coaches, and all three of them were offered situations to leave Kansas State this year, and they chose not to, and that speaks volumes to how special this community is, and our athletic department, our athletic director. You know, when you want to be a traditionally great college baseball program, you have to have continuity with your staff. And we just got loyal people that are just, they're not just going to take any job to leave what we got going on here. And it's something special. And it's as good a staff as I've been around, people wise, developmentally. It's I'm pretty fortunate to work with these guys every day.
Well, Coach, again, really appreciate your time and talking with me about all various topics, and good luck next season. I think I got a little bit of time, but good luck here in the next couple of months.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.